The Fool's Journey Through the Suit of Cups. Now that the Fool has journeyed through the Major Arcana and the Suit of Wands, he decides to avoid going out for a walk just in case another ace appears in front of him.
Right, we're in the middle of the sea. I reckon we should be safe here.
Hello!
Oh, for crying out loud.
Welcome to the land of cups, fool.
It's not exactly land, is it? We're under the sea.
This is the realm of feelings, dreams and emotions. Love is all around, fool. Can you feel it?
Not really. I'm completely wet through.
Shall we head back to the beach?
Yes, please. I think there's a fish in my underpants.
Ooh, lucky you.
I think I nearly choked to death.
Sorry for giving you a salty mouthful. I'm the Ace of Cups, a symbol of unlimited emotional potential. I bring joy, contentment, abundance and fertility. My cup runneth over.
Has someone piddled in it?
What? No. Why would someone do that? I'm saying that it's overflowing with endless happiness and emotional fulfillment. Weirdo.
Well, that sounds pretty good to me.
But I also bring heartbreak, loss, grief and sadness. I'm a blind force. I encompass the whole emotional experience.
Oh, are you alright?
Yeah, I'll be okay. It all just gets a bit too much for me sometimes.
Well, if there's anything I can do... Ow!
Oh, thank you. I feel much better now.
Glad to be of service. By the way, who's that fella over there?
Oh, that's Peter Password.
Peter Password? Why is he crying over his luggage?
He's just case sensitive. Anyway, you're off on a new journey, fool. It's time to travel in search of complete emotional satisfaction.
Oh, great. How wonderful. I wonder what exciting adventures await me this time.
Remember, there's always a pot of gold waiting at the end of the rainbow.
A pot of gold? Really? All right, then I'm in. Let's find the end of this rainbow.
With a newfound optimism, the Fool sets off in search of the end of the rainbow. Soon he comes across a pair of young lovers. How very sweet.
Hello there! Welcome to Love's Garden! After so much searching, we finally found each other and now here we stand, united for love's sake, a symbol of mutual respect, kindness and deep, deep, unconditional love.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm very happy for you both.
I know, I can't believe I've finally got a girlfriend. All those years spent knocking it out to wooden carvings and I'm finally going to lose me cherry.
Right, sounds like you've got plenty in common.
Thank you! Yes, we are definitely on the same page. We offer our love and understanding freely, and we mirror each other's emotions, desires, and intentions.
Well, hey, I'm definitely getting some action.
Okay. Anyway, could you possibly point me in the direction of the end of that rainbow over there, please?
You want us to point you in the direction of the rainbow that you've just pointed out?
Yes, please. That'd be great.
I'm gonna take a wild guess here and suggest that it might be over there by where that rainbow is.
Great, thanks.
Complex geographical questions now answered, the Fool sets off in earnest to find his pot of gold. Soon he finds himself lost in the woods. After a while, he comes to a clearing with three rather tipsy-looking ladies having a party.
Welcome to the party. We're celebrating.
Why are there vegetables everywhere?
Because we're going to turnip the beets.
This is so much better than my birthday celebration. I had a Cinderella-themed party.
Well, that sounds great.
Not really. I ended up mopping the floor and doing the dishes.
Right, that's the end of the party.
Blimey, that was quick.
We're only celebrating for half a minute.
Why?
Because it's my 32nd birthday.
Right. Anyway, I appear to be somewhat lost in the woods. Do you think you might be able to help me find my way back out?
No problem. Good friends can do anything when they put their minds together.
Look over there. It's Will Smith. That must be the way out.
How can you be so sure?
Because where there's a will, there's a way.
Sure enough, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air just happened to be standing at the edge of the forest. The fool now finds himself in a large field with a rather dejected-looking fellow sitting in front of him.
Hello there. You're not looking too happy. What's wrong?
I just can't be bothered with anything. Nothing exciting ever happens to me.
Hello, hello, elixir of life here.
I'm so bored I started reading the dictionary from start to end.
How's that going?
I'm just past caring. I think I'm emotionally constipated. I haven't given a shit for days.
Oh, come on. It can't be that bad.
Maybe I'm just a very boring person. Last week someone stole my identity and tried to give it back to me. I got arrested, but the police let me go after 5 minutes. They said I wasn't a person of interest.
Well, maybe you just need something interesting to do.
I have got some very interesting facts. For example, did you know that boredom is an anagram of bedroom? My girlfriend worked that out while we were having sex.
Fascinating. Is that a woodpecker I can hear?
Sorry, I'm just trying to break up the mahogany. Hello, never-ending happiness in a cup.
Anyway, perhaps you can help me out. I'm trying to find the end of the rainbow so I can claim my pot of gold. Why don't you come with me?
Nah.
Why not?
Long. Can't be arsed. Don't know why you're bothering anyway. A rainbow is just a natural optical phenomenon that occurs when light is refracted, internally reflected, and dispersed in water droplets, creating a continuous spectrum of colours visible.
My God, you really are boring, aren't you?
Oh, look at that. Now it's pissing it down.
Oh no, where's the rainbow gone? I better get going and see if I can find it again.
The fool leaves the bored and, in my opinion, bloody work-shy fellow and heads off into the rain. Soon he comes across another sad-looking gentleman gazing down at some cups that he's knocked over. This part of the tarot seems to be ruled by the bone idle and the inept.
Woe is me, for I have lost my love.
Oh dear, what happened?
She left me. She said I was a clumsy oaf with hands like cow's tits, and now she's buggered off with the window cleaner. Oh, regret is such a useless emotion. I just wish I'd learned that before.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that.
I tried to drown my sorrows, but now I've spilled my bloody wine all over the floor. My heart is broken, my soul is buggered, and now I can't even get pissed.
I feel your pain. I've lost something very dear to me too.
Really? What happened?
The rainbow disappeared out of the sky.
Are you telling me that you're broken-hearted because it's overcast?
Yeah.
I've just bared my soul and you're standing there crying because it's cloudy? Oh, what's the point in carrying on? Life is just a series of disappointments and getting shat on by fate.
At this point, the ace reappears.
Honestly, you turn your back for 5 minutes and everyone turns into Mr. Moody Pants. For goodness sake, just turn around. There's another 2 cups behind you.
Oh yeah, so there is. Looks like I can get drunk after all.
See? If you only focus on what you've lost, you forget about what you've still got.
You're right. I've still got so much to live for. Oh, bugger, I've knocked them over as well.
Never mind about getting pissed. It's time to walk over the bridge of acceptance and on to a new life.
But what about my rainbow?
Next thing you know, the sun card turns up. This is turning into another bloody free-for-all.
Hello. Hello there. How come you're upside down?
I've come to demonstrate that the rainbow is still there. You just can't see it because it's obscured by clouds. Look, if I turn myself around, it's back for all to see.
Oh, fantastic. We're back in business.
You do realise that rainbows are physically impossible without water droplets in them?
Oh, shut up, you boring fart! Having rediscovered his physically impossible rainbow, the fool and the gentleman from the 5 of Cups walk over the bridge of acceptance. Soon they find themselves in a quaint little village.
You're completely unable to express your emotions.
Can't say I'm surprised. Right, there's the pub. See you later.
Try not to knock anything over. Hey, I remember this place. I used to come here when I was a kid.
Presently, the fool finds himself before a young boy offering flowers to his little sister.
Here you go, sis. Some flowers for you.
Oh, lovely. The last time I got flowers, all the heads had been cut off. I think I was being stalked.
Hello there. What are you two up to?
We're playing in the flower garden.
Oh, my granddad used to bring me here when I was little. I still remember his last words.
What were they?
For God's sake, put that crossbow down, you bloody idiot.
Very profound.
This place is making me feel really nostalgic.
Nostalgia isn't what it used to be, you know.
Anyway, I'm searching for the end of the rainbow. Any ideas how I can get there?
You could try asking the fella who lives at number 7. He reckons he knows everything.
Right, thank you.
3 women in our street were given flowers today, and they're absolutely gorgeous.
That's probably why. The fool heads off to find number 7. When he gets there, he knocks on the door and is greeted by a thoughtful-looking fellow who seems to be lost in his imagination.
Oh, hi there. Come on in. I was just thinking about how amazing it's going to be when I get my pilot's license.
Oh, wow. Are you a pilot?
Not yet, but I will be. I mean, I've never actually been on a plane, but I'm going to buy a book that teaches you all about it. Anyway, would you like a cup of coffee?
Oh, yes, please.
I'm the greatest barista in all of Cubville. Well, not yet I'm not, but I will be. I'm going to buy a book that teaches you all about it. Actually, come to think of it, I don't have any milk. Or sugar. Or coffee for that matter.
Okay, look, don't worry about the coffee. I'm just trying to find my way to the end of the rainbow, and I've been told that you're the best person to ask.
Oh yes, I know the way to anywhere. I'm actually an expert cartographer.
Really? That's fantastic.
Yes, or at least I will be.
Don't tell me. You're going to buy a book that teaches you all about it.
That's right. How did you know?
Lucky guess. So can you tell me how to get to the end of the rainbow?
Not as such. I've never actually left this town or seen a rainbow. But one day I'm going to go out and see the whole world.
Well, why don't you start right now? We can go and find the rainbow together.
Yeah, can't do it just yet, you see, because I've broken my chin. On a yogurt.
Your chin looks all right to me.
I don't bruise easily, but believe me, I'm in agony here.
Look, you haven't really broken your chin on a yogurt. You're just making excuses. You need to get off your backside. Otherwise, you're going to spend the rest of your life in here, dreaming about things but never doing anything.
But I wouldn't know where to start.
You can start by helping me find this rainbow. Maybe if we climb up to a high place, we'll be able to see where we're going.
The fool and the dreamer head out in search of a high place so they can get their bearings. Soon night falls across the land.
Oh no, the rainbow's disappeared again.
Well, of course it has. It's night time, you buffoon. It'll be back in the morning.
Oh right, of course.
Next, the cretinous pair find themselves in a meadow with a familiar-looking peasant stood next to a fire.
Hello there. Why don't you come and rest your bones next to the fire?
Oh, thank you very much. Don't mind if I do. I'm absolutely exhausted. I don't think I could take another step. Here, I know you. Weren't you trying to get an extension for your toilet on the last journey?
Yeah, that was me. Never happened though. The king said I was a weirdo.
Get away.
Anyway, I got bored of crapping on my own, so I decided to become a travelling healer. I bring cures, tinctures and tonics for whatever ails you.
Right, that's an interesting change of career. Anyway, we're trying to find somewhere high up so we can survey the land.
Funnily enough, I just saw another fella who was looking for the same thing. Seemed a bit depressed. Said he was tired of his way of life and was looking for something more meaningful.
Did you help him?
Certainly did. I put my thumb in his anus.
You... May I ask why?
Hadn't got any onions.
And?
Well, according to Mar Bailey's ailment guide, a raw fresh onion placed in the posterior will draw out the demons and bring relief to any malady. But I hadn't got any onions, so we had to make do with the thumb up the arse.
Did it help?
Dunno, he was off before I could find out. If anything, he seemed a bit taken aback.
Can't imagine why.
Anyway, we should probably think about getting some sleep.
Do you know what? I'm feeling wide awake all of a sudden.
Yeah, we should probably crack straight on. No time like the present, eh?
The fool and his companion make a hasty retreat from Mr. Oddball and soon find themselves walking up a steep hill alongside a gentleman with a walking stick.
Hello there.
Hold up. You're not with that fella with the busy thumbs, are you?
Nah, don't worry. We left him way back there. Anyway, it looks like you've forgotten your cups.
No, I haven't. I just don't want them anymore.
Why not?
I've lost all interest in them. All my life I've been the biggest cup trader in the whole land. I searched far and wide for the best cups I could find. I can't tell you how happy it made me, finding them and cleaning them up to a brilliant shine, then selling them on to collectors.
So what happened?
I just got tired of doing the same thing over and over again. I never thought I'd say this, but there's only so many times you can polish a cup before you start to lose enthusiasm.
Who would have thought? So what are you going to do now?
I don't know. That's why I'm climbing this mountain. I can see a light shining at the top. That's got to mean something.
When they reach the summit, they see yet another familiar face, holding a lantern and looking out across the land.
Welcome back, traveller. Oh, wow. I didn't expect to see you up here. By the way, who's that over there? Oh, that's Moses talking to God. They've just invented the first tablet that connects to the cloud. Right. Which mountain is that then? Mount Sinai. First he went to Mount Olive, but Popeye got angry.
This is incredible. I've never seen a view like this before.
That's because you've spent your whole life dreaming about the world instead of experiencing it. You need to get out of your pit and head out there before life passes you by.
I need to find something more meaningful in my life.
Meaning isn't something you find, it's something you create. What makes you truly happy?
I absolutely love painting portraits of wrestlers in the nude.
Then that's what you should do, boyo.
But there's no money in it.
Don't ever let that hold you back. History is full of people who redefined art by staying true to themselves. The act of creation brings its own kind of wealth. If you're really passionate about painting John Cena with his tackle out, then I say go for it.
Right, I'm off to buy some paintbrushes.
Yeah, I'm going to travel the world and write a book about it. Thank you, Mr. Hermit.
Oh, look at that. It's morning. I can see the rainbow again. Looks like it's just behind that castle over by there.
In the distance lies a castle on the other side of a river. The fool walks over to a cliff so we can get a better look. And, well, I think we all know what's coming next, don't we?
Why does that keep happening to me?
I think you just don't understand the gravity of the situation.
Soon the fool finds himself by the river. Suddenly he hears shouting from the opposite shore.
Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the other side? What do you mean? You're already on the other side.
What? Presently, the fool comes across a very satisfied-looking gentleman, sitting with 9 cups lined up behind him.
Hello there, you're looking very pleased with yourself.
That's because I am very pleased with myself. I'm the owner of 9 Cups Boat Hire, and I've just got my annual profit reports. Let me tell you, things are looking very good. So good, I've just taken on a famous German psychiatrist to work as my Coast Guard.
Coast Guard, help me, I'm sinking. Okay, what are you sinking about? Well, maybe you could help me out. I'm trying to get to that rainbow behind the castle, but it's over the other side of this river.
Say no more. You can hire one of my boats to get you over there.
Oh, I'm not sure if I can afford it.
Don't worry, they're on sale.
Well, in that case, why don't you come with me?
No, thanks. I've got everything I need right here. Business is booming. I've got 9 cups of wine and a brand new pair of thubs. What more could anyone ask for? The fool heads off in his reasonably priced boat to the castle on the other side. Soon he comes across a priest who appears to be drowning in the river.
Hey there, do you need some help?
No, thank you. The good Lord will save me.
Okay, if you're sure.
Ahoy there. Jump in, old chap. No, thank you. Lord God will save me. All right, suit yourself. Here, mate, grab hold of this. No, thank you. The good Lord will save me. All right, have it your way.
Lord God Almighty, why didn't you save me?
I sent 3 boats. What more did you want?
Finally, the fool reaches the shore on the other side and is immediately greeted by the Page of Cups.
Hello there. Careful, you're standing very close to the water.
Oh, don't worry, I'll never drown.
Why not?
I'm far too flamboyant.
Well, I must admit you're wearing some very dandy looking clothes.
Thanks, I designed them myself.
Really? You must have a fantastic imagination.
Yes, I just see things very clearly in my mind and sketch them down. Then I just give the designs to the fastest clothes maker in Cupville.
Who's that then?
Taylor Swift. Only problem is the underpants are too tight. They remind me of this castle.
Why do your underpants remind you of the castle?
No ballroom.
I see. By the way, is that a fish poking out of your cup?
Yes, he sometimes helps me with my studies.
He's not saying much now, is he?
Oh, he's just a little shy. He's a koi carp.
Right. Anyway, I'm just trying to find my way to that rainbow over there.
It looks like it's over the courtyard. You just need to head across the moat and go through the castle. Be careful though, the drawbridge is a bit dodgy. The fool heads across the dodgy drawbridge only to have it collapse beneath him and send him straight into the moat.
Help! Help!
All right, calm down. There's no need to go off the deep end.
But I'm gonna drown!
No, you're not. Here, take this bar of soap.
How's that gonna help?
You'll just wash up on the shore.
The fool and the water nymph soon find themselves on the other side of the moat and come face to face with the Knight of Cups.
What the bloody hell's going on here then? Someone's gonna have to pay for that. Drawbridge?
And I can't believe it's really true. But I feel just like I'm flying and it's all for you.
I think there's an eel in my trousers. Oh well, never mind about the drawbridge. Accidents happen, and I can soon erect another one.
So why don't you tell me all about yourself?
I'm an expert when it comes to root vegetables.
Not you, him.
I am the Knight of Cupville Castle. I patrol both sea and land. They call me Thurf and Turf. How about you?
My name's Coral. I live in this moat, and I've got an OnlyFins.
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm trying to get to that rainbow over there. Oh, it's over the courtyard. Why don't you both come through? There's a wedding happening today.
The three of them head into the castle and get on an escalator. Suddenly the knight bursts into tears.
Are you alright?
Yes, I cry whenever I see an escalator.
Why's that then?
I just always seem to find them moving. When they reach the top of the escalator, the fool is suddenly confronted by a gentleman in his birthday suit.
What happened to you?
I got kicked out of the wedding.
Well, I'm not surprised. Just look at you.
It's not my fault. The invitation said black tie only.
As the fool makes his way through the castle, he soon finds himself in front of the Queen of Cups.
Oh, hello, dear. Please come through. We're presiding over a wedding in the courtyard today. It's all very emotional. Even the cake is in tears.
Hello, Your Majesty. By the way, is that Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy over there?
Yes, they're also getting married.
Who's that marrying them?
Oh, that's James Hetfield from Metallica. He's the pastor of Muppets.
Right. Anyway, I'm trying to find the end of that rainbow.
No problem, we're just waiting for my darling husband Sam, the King of Cupville. I almost got married to King Midas, but I got gold feet.
The fool and the queen are soon joined by the King of Cups.
Hello, dear. Who's this then?
Oh, he's a fool. I think he's come to make you laugh. Has it worked?
Not really, but I appreciate the jester. Anyway, we've got a wedding to take care of. I was rather hoping you might sing us a song afterward. There's a stage over the rainbow.
Sam, where over the rainbow?
See, you're singing already. Speaking of rainbows, I'm trying to get to the end of that one.
Then follow us into the Garden of Delights.
The Fool, the Queen and the King wander into the royal courtyard and a wonderful celebration.
We're gathered here today to witness the joining together of this happy couple. By the way, what's Frodo doing here?
Oh, he's the ring bearer.
What happened to Bilbo?
Sadly, he passed away on his wedding night. Apparently, old hobbits die hard. Anyway, can I just say how wonderful it is to see two young people so in touch with their emotions?
Did you hear that? If you can't get in touch with your emotions, I'm leaving you.
I don't know how I feel about that.
We are two flames burning as one in the eternal sea of love.
Reckon I'm getting a smelly finger.
Right, how about a lovely group photo for the wedding album?
Cheese! Don't say we didn't warn you. By the way, Sam, what happened to our wedding photos?
The photographer emailed them to me, but I couldn't open the files. I always have trouble with emotional attachments.
Excuse me, we'd like to get married too, if that's all right.
Oh, go on then, the more the merrier. I now pronounce you man and wife.
Look at there! I've got legs! I could kick myself!
Let's celebrate with a drink.
Okay, but just a small one. I don't want to be legless again.
Speech! Speech!
I'd like to thank my brand new legs for supporting me, my arms for always being by my side, and my fingers, well, I can always count on them.
The Bible tells us to love one another.
Yeah, but the Kama Sutra's a bit more specific. Come on, I want to get my leg over.
Reminds me of our wedding night.
Was I your first?
Why does everyone always ask me that?
Look, this is all well and good, but I'm still trying to get to the end of the rainbow.
It sounds like you might be in need of some expert help.
What? Where did you come from?
The Fool suddenly launches into the air, flying across the rainbow in the sky. Soon he comes crashing down onto a small Irishman.
Ow! What the bloody hell do you want to be doing a thing like that for?
Sorry about that. I've got no idea what just happened. Are you alright?
Yeah, don't worry. I've been through much worse. That I can tell you.
Have you been here for a while?
Oh yes, I can remember when that rainbow was still black and white. Anyway, enough of the small talk. What can I do for you, young sir?
Well, I was told that there might be a pot of gold around here somewhere.
You mean something like this?
Yeah, that's the one.
Sorry, there's nothing like that round here.
Oh, right. Looks like I was misinformed.
Just kidding. Of course there is. You've made it to the end of the rainbow. It's all yours.
What, really? Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much.
No problem, traveller. I hope it brings you everything you could ever wish for.
You hear that, buddy? It's going to be fine wine and luxury gowns for us from now on.
Clutching his pot of gold, the Fool and his canine companion head back home, full of excitement. But there is one more card left in the suit. Soon he comes across a joyful-looking family, full of hope and optimism.
Excuse me, could you tell me the way to get to Kippy Towers, please?
I've no idea where that is, my love. We've only just brought our daughter back home from the hospital. The doctor gave her the all clear today.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. You must be so happy.
I haven't got the words to tell you how grateful we are. We had to sell our house to pay for the treatment, but it was worth every penny. Now we're all together again, and we've never been happier.
I'm going to be a doctor when I grow up.
That's amazing. But how are you going to manage with nowhere to live?
Oh, don't you worry about that, dear. We've got each other, and that's all that matters.
Look, take this pot of gold.
What? But we couldn't possibly accept that.
No, I insist. Please take it and buy your house back.
Oh, my days. Thank you so much, kind sir.
We'll never forget you, traveller. God bless you.
With empty pockets but a heart full of joy, the Fool leaves the happy family and finally begins the long journey back home.
Ah, well, looks like we're right back where we started. Apart from the fact that I haven't got the foggiest idea where we are.
Perhaps I could be of assistance.
What? Where do you keep coming from?
Someplace far away. What seems to be the problem? We're completely lost. Do you know the way back to Kippy Towers? As a matter of fact, yes I do. Come on, follow me. Brilliant. By the way, has anyone ever told you that you look a bit like Merlin? Shh, never mind about that. Now then, have you ever wondered what's the difference between a wizard's wand and a policeman's truncheon? No, I haven't. What is the difference? One is used for cunning stunts, while the other is used for...
Apprehending criminals, thank you very much. Soon the fool finds himself back at Kippy Towers.
Well, I have to say you've surprised us all. To give the gold away to a family in need after everything you went through was one of the most heartwarming things I've ever seen. You've taught us all a really important lesson.
What about? Anyway, it wasn't a complete waste of time. That wizard bloke gave me this lovely cup.
Oh, that was very nice of him. Well done for making it all the way to the end of part 3. As ever, I'd like to say an enormous thank you to all the voice actors for coming in and working their magic. And of course a huge thank you to you guys for staying around and being patient while I was working on this. Normal service will resume now that this is finished. Anyway, if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this, then please check out the videos we've made on each of the cards in the Suit of Cups, where we go into much more detail and there's even more dismal attempts at humour. Stay tuned for part 4, where the Fool will be journeying his way through the Suit of Swords. That's just guaranteed to be an absolute barrel of laughs.
Thank you for subjecting yourself to yet another bout of absolute twaddle. If you enjoyed this nonsense, then please subscribe. May the coming days bring you emotional fulfillment, joy and happiness. Until next time.